It is time now to bring in our State House insiders, Antoine Seawright, our Democratic strategist, Dave Wilson, our Republican strategist. All right, guys, it looks like Governor McMaster getting the okay to limit what can be purchased with SNAP benefits in South Carolina starting at the end of August of next year. No sugary drinks, no candy, nothing like that can be bought with SNAP benefits. Antoine, your reaction to this?
I'm not surprised. We see much of this happening around the country by way of USDA, and I'm sure the implementation from the federal government will continue when it comes to SNAP benefits. Keep in mind that's 200,000+ South Carolinians who receive those benefits. It averages out to about $6 per day per recipient. That's what we're debating about with SNAP benefits. And we saw when we had the SNAP crisis around the country and how that impacted South Carolina, how it impacts grocery stores, convenience stores, farmers, packaging stores, banks, and the whole kit and caboodle. So if the governor and others want to spend their time implementing the MAGA extremist policy agenda from Washington, that's fine. But what we should be doing is figuring out a way to move people away from SNAP benefits and move them to working so they do are not so not anyone will be reliant upon SNAP benefits for survival.
Well, it's 18th. South Carolina is the 18th state to try to implement something like this. It's been done by Republican states and Democratic states. The whole idea here is, are we actually using SNAP benefits for things that are going to be healthy foods? The problem that we have with that, though, is you go to the store, folks at home, and you understand this. Healthy foods tend to be a little bit more expensive. So what's going to be done to bring some level of health and economy together here so that the folks who need to have healthy foods using their SNAP benefits can actually afford the foods that they need to be able to have? That's an important question that has to be answered in this. And it's going to take a while too, why this isn't being implemented until August, because stores are going to have to make the changes that they have to do on their systems and everything else for this to go into effect.
And Dave, that's my point. $6 a day per SNAP benefit recipient. Look, that's not going to do. That won't even buy bananas and water. And so you mean to tell me that you're going to remove certain items and these are benefits that people depend upon for survival? I think we have to look ourselves in the eye in South Carolina and around the country and one, deal with this affordability crisis that's hitting everyday Americans harder than ever before. And that's mainly because of what you see by the majority party in Washington and by this president, but also deal with the realities that come down from Washington and how it impacts everyday South Carolinians and their functioning, like at the grocery store.
It appears tonight that those two unfinished reactors at VC Summer will be finished thanks to a private investment group. This is the deal that somehow Senator Tom Davis spearheaded. He was behind the scenes trying to push this. What are you guys hearing at the State House on this reactor project? Is there a concern that, again, a private investment group taking it over, but is there a concern that taxpayers could get involved in this down the road?
I would love to have taxpayers get some money back off of this, because those of us who are ratepayers with those companies that were having to pay for this debacle that took place, keep in mind it's billions of dollars, we're still paying that on our electricity bills every single month. Do we need the power? Absolutely, we need the power in the state of South Carolina. We've got data centers that are going into this state, which suck in a whole lot of energy just to be able to run, but it's also the backbone of the economy in America today. So these things going on cue will make a huge difference in the energy needs of South Carolina. It's actually good to see private dollars going into this. So hopefully there'll be some business sense that goes into it.
Look, the devil's always in the details. What we don't know is what we don't know. Here's what I do know. Just like revenue in our state, we're going to have to come up with something to deal with the energy crisis that is going to continue to wrap its arms around our state and around the country. We also know that energy prices are up in South Carolina like they are around the country, again, going back to the affordability matter. And we also do not know what role the Public Service Commission will play in whatever happens at the end of this. And those are folks that are selected by the General Assembly. And so we just have to see how it plays out. I think step by step, accountability has to be along the way. We saw what happened in Georgia with cost overrun, with them trying to do something similar. And so as long as to this point, private investment is the infrastructure, then I don't think there's an issue for public concern. But when we start talking about regulation, when we start talking about public dollars, then I think that's when public and lawmakers need to be educating constituencies all across the state.
All right, Antoine, I see you're representing South Carolina State. They've got the Celebration Bowl this weekend in Atlanta.
Go Bulldogs. We have one team in South Carolina that's going bowling and that's doing well, other than, of course. So go Bulldogs.
Go Bulldogs.
All right. Antoine, Dave, as always, guys, thank you so very much. A quick break. We're going to be back with much more in just a moment.